Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 457. Let's see what shows up here. And so, alright, well, not the most compelling set of champions. I really don't like this opportunity attack Cyrelia. Pairs into Bilgewater, and then the Bilgewater half has all of the Bloodbait and Snapjaw Lurker style cards, and I really don't like having those turn up in our archetypes. And Bilgewater's already bad enough. It just feels like we're getting hamstrung from the start. And to me, when it comes to Irelia, you just want to be with a Z or a Z anyways. And so we'll let that one go away. That's going to either bring us to this Darius or this Leona. And why not just draft the Darius? You know, it's been a while since we've put together a run with old Big Arms here. He has kind of fallen a bit out of the spotlight with the release of Scion, and so we'll see if we can't get something going with Darius here. So let's get him pulled up on the site. If you're not familiar, we are just over here at ftpbus.com. We're just going to be on the front page or with the Expedition Helper button up here on the navigation bar. Make our way to this drop-down box and then find the Darius and Nox and Might. And so, yeah, tons of cards in this one. We can barely fit it in our screen. What they've done with Nox and Might is Riot can't really figure out what they want to do, what kind of like themes this archetype should be following, and what works and what doesn't in it. And so they basically just take like all of the Noxus cards and throw them in here. The kind of the history with this archetype is it used to be like extremely aggressive. They had all the aggro cards living in here. And then that deck was apparently too good. And so back when they used to kind of manage the archetypes, they took all of the cheap cards out, and then it was just basically every card in Noxus that cost more than 2 mana, and that is what Nox and Knight became. But they've since gone back and kind of like balanced it out a little bit. You know, there's at least reasonable plays throughout the curve. You can see you got your Blade Squires and Legion Rearguards down here in the ones. That has your kind of standard Trifarian style 2-drops like the Hopeful, and then all through up the curve, it's got at least something. It has a little bit of interactivity in it. It's got these whirling deaths and stuff, but it's kind of a jack of all trades archetype, if you will. It's just a little bit of everything, but not doing anything particularly well. And so we would need to, figure out what we're doing, and then B, see if we can't, pair in something nicely with this. And so when I'm talking in terms of like figuring out what we're doing, I don't like to just draft good cards deck. I don't think that those are particularly good. It's just I really would prefer to have some synergies coming together, so we aren't just playing a Wrathful Rider, for no reason, right? It just we can give it quick attacks, we can give it overwhelms, fine, we're doing stuff with it. But if it's just in our deck because it was the best card out of the options, I'm not happy about chasing things down that way. And so that's what I'm talking about, whether or not we want to say build like the big overwhelms deck or the quick attack challengers deck or the 5 attack matters deck, whatever. I just like to find some theme that we can build around and chase after. And this one needs a bit of help and a bit of hand holding and trying to find one of those themes to go after. And okay, we could look to just move away from that. I do always love a nice fluffed and tuft Poros draft. It's a little unfortunate that this is turning up these days when we could try and piece together the Iceborne Poros deck. But it kind of is what it is. We just have to do the best we can if we take this Braum. And so this is actually what I am kind of leaning towards, though. The Twisted Fate can be okay. If you're in a fairly aggressive Noxus deck, I do like Twisted Fate just as a card, right? He is one of the good card strategy cards that I'm just okay to play with because he's so strong on his own and fits into any deck. But we're getting some like real turds and like Strong Arm, and Pilfered Goods is fairly meh here, so I'm not super interested in that. Otherwise, over here with this Kennen, this could be okay. He's a very nice aggressive unit. Quicken plays well as a nice tempo spell. But I think, the more and more I think on it, the more and more I just want to come out here and draft this Braum. So, okay, so yeah, Braum. So what we'll see what we can do here. This doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to just come out and jump into the Poros. We have a few options, right? The Noxus Freylord pairing is quite good. lets you come together and assemble just the late game Overwhelms deck. And while the Poros archetype itself isn't that strong for it, you're usually looking for something like Sejuani. This does at least have the likes of Mighty Poros in here, which is one of the better mid-game Overwhelm cards. But, just switching gears and thinking it just in terms of Braum, there tends to be three decks within the Braum archetype. There is your just standard get all the Poro snacks kind of build around. This is the preferred way, in my opinion, to really chase after the Poros. You load up on the ones that you want, your Mighty Poros, your Lonely Poros, your Poro Herders. You stall out the game a little bit and then just crush your opponent with a mountain of stats. I'm always on board with that. That's a reasonable strategy. The second one would be a Heart of Fluff build around. This I won't pursue unless we're in Targon. It's just a super high roll kind of strategy to where you're trying to roll the Heart of Fluff up to like an 18-18 Overwhelm or something. And there's just so many cards in the format that punish you for this going tall, right? So if you get hit with a mini more for a bounce spell or a vengeance or whatever, it's just super easy to blow up the heart. And so if you at least have the spell shield attached to it, you have a little bit more protection in your all-in strategies. But it can be fine. It doesn't have to be as big into Poro snacks. It does better as long as you just have like something to boost your units. But it's not that not super strong. This is deck number 2 in my opinion, and then number 3 is the They Who Endure kind of build around, where we're just like aggressively throwing away our cheap Poros to try and drop like a 10-10 or 12-12 They Who Endure. And I'm not a huge fan of They Who Endure. I do concede that there's games where it's strong. It will come down late and be like a 12-12 when your opponent just can't do anything about it and they lose. But that doesn't make up for the more common scenario where you just have like a 4-4 for 7 in your hand, and you just never have an opportunity to play it because it just sets you so far behind. And he doesn't like grow as your other stuff dies, and so it tends to be fairly weak. And so, yeah, you can see Iceborne Legacy here. If we find PNZ somewhere, then sure, maybe we'll try to get the Poros together. But I would say at the end of the day, we're going to decide here fairly quickly if we want to be in some kind of like mid-rangey Overwhelm style deck, or if we want to chase after the Poro snacks. So, welcome to the squad, Braum. And okay, so yeah, not a bad start. I mean, we have the Lonely Poro here if we want to chase those down, and then otherwise these cards I'm not super interested in. I don't like picking up Battle Scars. I think this archetype is fairly weak at this point. And I just don't want this turning up every time. It does, have combos with Braum. Braum is a Battle Scars champion, and Troll Chant is good, but we have the Lonely Poro down here. I'm going to just go for the Poros. Oh, Feel the Rush, huh? Okay. This should be good here. Darius is fine as a 10-10. You really like to have the Overwhelms when it comes to playing Feel the Rush, and so Braum does reasonably well since he has Challenger, but having a Darius feels fairly strong with this as well, and then no Poros to speak of, and so looks good to me. Okay, ooh, the Iceborne Legacy. We'll have to see what we can do with this. I'm not particularly interested in this deck that we've assembled here. It's just too tough to get more than like 2 or 3 copies of a particular Poro, and so it tends to be a bad combat trick or something that you just throw on Braum. But Poro Herder is one of the premier cards that we could pick up here, so that's the one that we're actually interested in adding to our deck. Whoa, all these cards. This is a weird set. There is Conchologist if we want to jump into Bandle City. I can't even remember what the Bandle City Poro is. Can you see it? I can't remember if I have this set up to pull up the Poros. But man, I have to look now. Let me switch over to Mobalytics real quick. Poro, Bandle City, where are you at? Oh, no, Proto Poro is Freylord, right? We can get those either way. Both of these are Freylord Bandle City. I'm curious how this plays out if we take the Bandle City, if we can start stacking up things like Proto Poro and Poro Sled. Huh, because there's not just a Bandle City only Poro. Huh, that's strange to me. But what do we think about these? Conchologist, of course, extremely good. The thing that also interests me in Conchologist would be its ability to manifest Poro snacks. And then we also have a removal spell down here. And these Noxus cards are all fairly weak. I usually don't chase after 3-faction strategies, but I think I'm convinced here. I think these cards might work out nicely. All right, there is a second Feel the Rush. I don't like drafting 2. This just tends to be dead in your hand if you draw multiple copies. But we have a Lonely along with a Mighty. Very easy take over here to the left. And onto this next one. Man, I don't think we can take these. Like, I'm happy with 1-pack mentality. This is a very strong game closer. I don't want 2 copies, much in the same way I don't want 2 copies of Feel the Rush. And then I just don't think this Iceborne Legacy is going to work. So I'm going to just take the Brittle Steel out of this set. Alpha Wildclaw is still a reasonably strong unit, and it will be a welcome addition here. With this, very easy Lonely Poro with Poro Herder. Looks good to me. Another Lonely Poro. Looks pretty good. Easy take. There is the Yordle Explorer down here. Oh, no. Never mind. This is when you summon another Yordle. So that's not going to work for us. Just a Lonely with this. Okay, getting in the Poro Snacks. Very easy take. Welcome to the easy draft stage here. This is actually a very strong one with the Fabled Poro and Poro Snacks. I like to have 3 Poro Snacks. If it comes down to it, would you rather have 4 or have 2? I'd rather have 4, but 3 kind of feels like the magic number of these. Okay, and then here, the Hearthguard is okay. To me, it's a little on the weaker side of things. I tend to prefer to have Poro Snacks. But just because the units that you draw out of your deck aren't as important as the ones you've already got on board, right? If we've already played like 2 Lonely Poros and then the 2 additional Poros, then the Hearthguard doesn't do anything. But he's still an incredibly powerful card that I'm willing to pick up here. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. The Herder with the Aurora Borealis. Excellent. And all right. Oh man, ooh, this is tough. We got a Battle Fury. If you're not familiar with the amount of fun we like to have out here, Battle Fury is one of the funnest cards in the game. But these tend to turn up. I feel like we could probably get one later. And I would like to get these Iceborne Legacies out of our deck. Now that especially we picked up 2 Poro Snacks, we've picked up an Aurora Borealis, we can just kind of have that ability covered. Okay, you all know what time it is. We do have to go and turn something premium. Let's take a peek at what is available here. I'm not sure what we're going to have access to. I usually count on something from Vandal City to to be our card edition, but these are starting to run thin as well. So nothing in the common. Into the spells. I don't think we're going to have any of these cards either. Oh man, this is tough. All right, we don't have any of those. Let's just switch into the rares. Ooh, Poro Herder. You'll work. Ooh, there's Conchologist as well. The Conchologist is a fantastic upgrade. I know we have 1 copy of it, and it's out here generating premiums for your hand. That's very important, but for the pay-to-win aspects, I think we're just going to go with the Poro Herder. This is a premier bro in this style of deck. Recently upgraded to where the Poro doesn't have to be on the board, and quite happy to add him in. And then another thing, one of the little fun facts I learned, I had to buy some coins today. I saw this on Reddit yesterday or the day before, but if you buy the coins on PC, it is cheaper than purchasing them on the app. Apparently, they just take whatever the processing fee would be from the Apple Store or from the Google Play Store and just add it to the cost of the coins, and then you don't have to pay for that on PC. So you have a chance to save yourself a couple dollars out there if you're also buying into the pay-to-win lifestyle. So cool. Yeah, not a bad deck. We've got a lot of real raw power assembled here. The one thing I like to call out with these Poros decks is it feels like you're going to be like a very aggressive deck. We have all of these 1-cost Poros. We have all these Poro Herders to draw more stuff. But you tend to be more of like a mid-rangey style deck. Your units are all shitty until you've played like a Poro Snack or 2. And so you don't want to get in the head that you're just trying to like slam a bunch of units on the board. You're trying to get those snacks going to make your units grow and be good. And so what I find frequently is the sequence that will happen with this deck is you might have a bunch of Lonely Poros in your hand, but you still just don't play anything until the 3rd turn. It's very common to pass on turn 1 and turn 2, and then play a Mighty Poro on turn 3 with a Poro Snack, and then on turn 4 just drop like 4 1-cost Poros. It's a very common sequence that turns up with this style of deck, and so you got to keep that in mind as you go through. But with this is slightly dangerous. I want to hang on to the Poros next because we only have 2 copies of it, but we don't have any of the Poros for our Poro herder, and so we high rolled into one here and everything is fine, but a little bit worrisome that things could have gone a little bit wrong. And here, let's just bank up the mana. If he plays a dude here, then I'm fine to play our Poro herder so that we can come out and interact with this, but I'm a little bit more interested in just trying to get this Poros next and now this Fabled Poro online. Trundle Thresh. We do have to worry like a little bit about AoEs, but not hugely. Hugely, we should say. All right, got the daring. Where's our Iceborne Legacies? It's a little tempting to just stop here. We'll see what opponent does. He spent a bunch of mana. It's like my concern now is like we have everything, right? We have the unit booster. We have a shitload of Poros to drop on the board. We have the Fabled Poro in hand. I just worry a little bit that the Fabled Poro is going to come down and be a little dangerous. But it seems like he's going to give us the time to get everything going. With the Aurora Borealis, looks good. Should just be a big blowout next turn. If he doesn't have like a, well, even like a Withering Wail isn't that scary. All right, yeah, we're gonna ace this. Gonna drop the Daring. I'm gonna drop the Sinister. We'll trade with the Spirit Leech if he attacks, and then we're just gonna go boom next turn. We didn't even do anything. Didn't get to drop the stuff. Well, I had fun. I don't know about that guy, but we certainly enjoyed that. Okay, so excellent. We got the additional Braums with the Poros next. We'll have to try and actively trade out these They Who Endures. Like, that's all that worries me with this deck now is like, we want these They Who Endures gone. We want to lose the Pack Mentality. We'd like to lose the Trifarian Shieldbreaker. The Alpha Wild Claw can go. It's not super important to keep. And then we're looking fine. Like, I just prefer everything to be fairly cheap. But yeah, good addition here. Wouldn't be opposed to adding in a different champion at the end, just to have a little bit of variety for Field of Rush. But we'll probably, at the end of the day, still just be a 3 Braum deck. Okay. Mono Demacia. So let's see here. The Lonely is fine. I think we can just stop like this. I was gonna say, it's odd, like, we only have 1 Mighty Poro. It's usually we end up with like 3 or 4 of them. It makes these games sequence a little bit better, but not a bad start here. We can do this thing to where we just bank to 3 and try to get them with the Mighty Poro. He didn't attack us. He's learning from us. He knows he's trying to next level the turn 1 skip. And have the turn 2 skip be a thing now. Oh my god, are we just going to get him? It should be so obvious we're up to shenanigans. Oh my gosh, we just boomed him. Feeling good, feeling good. So, I was going to say, how do we want to go about this? Now that he's played the Challenger, I think we want to go for the Brittle Steel. But I was curious if we would want to get the Braum on board, since we can we want to Fabled Poro a bunch of units, but getting Braum going and getting the free. Oh shit, we skipped. Okay, thanks for playing a card. I meant to add our Poro to the board. Let's see. We add in Sharpened Resolve. What do we hit? Challenger, Overwhelm on the 2, Challenger on the 4/1, and then our quick attack picked up Elusive. Okay. And he didn't have a trick last time. If he has a Prismatic Barrier, it's fine. He gets to grow a bit, but this isn't a particularly frightening unit. And we'll be ready with the combat trick for the next go-round. Braum is on the job. Okay. Looks good to me. It boomed. So how do we go about this? Right, see, here's my ultimate problem with They Who Endure, where it turned 7 and we've lost 1 unit, so we can play a 2/2 for 7 mana. Exactly why I don't like this card. But let's start with the Conchologist, see if we pick up something useful here. Scrap Heap is kind of interesting, actually. We could find a very strong Yordle out of this. There's the, I think that's a 5-cost one that gives all of your units the +1/+1. So let's see how that goes. I'm just gonna discard the Shield Breaker though. I feel like we might get some usage out of this They Who Endure a couple of turns from now. Okay, and so this Mecha Forcer is kind of interesting. We can use him to boost Braum and then have Braum start dealing damage. I don't think I want the Elusive or the Sand Soldier one, although the Sand Soldier one is interesting in terms of it creates 2 units that will then die for They Who Endure, and I think we can get some pretty good attacks with him here. So I think this is fine. Let's take the Dune Hopper. Now we can make attacks like, we'll hook the big boy. Oh, hang on, we got to get the dude on board first. Not bad. But he can put like a Lux block in front of this, that's fine. Do this and this. Let's see. Probably want to keep the Overwhelm one back. And then we'll have the 2 Sand Soldiers come down, right? Okay. So the Lux is going to kill something, sure. We get the 3 dead units off of this attack. The Mighty Poro. Are you going to come on board? You're still hanging out down here at the end. I think he comes to our stack. Yeah. Excellent. What do we get you up to? Ooh, it's a 5/5 now. Ooh, look out. Look out. This is a space where a pack mentality would just end the game. But let's see what comes down. It's a reasonably scary board from them. I mean, he got to untap with a Lux and 8 mana, which is always nothing to scoff at. But I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think what would be good from his standpoint. Like, Reinforcements doesn't seem that good. Like a big thermogenic beam would be good, but he's only playing Demacia. I'm curious if he has... Oh, he hit a True Shot Barrage. The fuck did that come from? What did he play? Oh, he had it's the Mage Seeker thing. Okay, that makes sense. So what's going to happen here? I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to do the Lieutenant into Braum and a Final Spark onto Braum. I think we just want to add dudes to the board and see if we can't just be on the They Who Endure plan. We can drop it down next turn. Okay. Interesting. I wonder what his plan on Final Sparking is. Makes sense. Alright, I'm just going to drop all of them. There is a world where I'd like to bank like 1 point of mana, just so we have the full 3 next turn in case we draw Aurora Borealis, but this is okay. Big boy. Not guaranteed to do a ton. They have a bunch of cards like Purify in the Lux archetype. The Lux archetype only has 6 commons in it, and one of them's Purify. So I wouldn't be surprised if Are They Who Endure falls. But at least one of the bonuses to this turn is he can play combat tricks, but he can't play the big ones like back to back. So let's just get ready to slam. Something like this. Let's get everybody in there. Okay, I'm gonna guess this isn't a Purify if he's just putting his biggest unit in front of They Who Endure. Cool. Definitely could have gone wrong. They have Detains. There's lots of stuff from a Lux-centric deck that could take down They Who Endure. Cool. Not dead. Moving on with the Poros. So what can we do here? Trading out the Legacy for a sled. The sled was why I was kind of interested in jumping into Bandle City. Incredibly powerful Poro here. There's also a second Poro Snacks, but I think we'll have the opportunity to get more Poro Snacks, and we probably won't have more opportunities to get Poro Sleds. And so I'm going to hang on to this one. And then the Buster Shot is kind of interesting here. Since we're generating Poros with the Lonely Poros, we should be able to fairly frequently play this thing for 2. And so let's pick up the sled and move on to the next one. Okay. Exciting times out there in the land of football. I'll keep it to one comment today. We won't just talk about football the whole time like we did earlier in the week, but we have our Marshall hoodie on today. Went to Marshall for college. And the exciting football announcements these days is Byron Leftwich. He played quarterback at Marshall for a few years. He's the offensive coordinator for the Bucks now. He allegedly has accepted the head coaching job with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so going back to his old team and hopefully making some sweet stuff happen down there. Him and Trevor Lawrence making the magic happen. Tom Brady learned everything he knows from Byron Leftwich, and so it's nice to see what Trevor can gain from the master. But all right, I'm just going to keep passing here. Let's just bank up this 3 mana. The opponent's not doing anything, and he's also playing a Fiora deck, so he might be on the same kind of game plan of do nothing. Doesn't seem super interested, and I'm curious how this panned out. What you commonly see with these Fioras is, well, I'm sorry, she like pairs. If you take the suit up Fiora, it pairs into Freylord. He doesn't have Freylord Champion, so I'm curious if something got traded away to add in the Lucian. All right, not a particularly exciting board here, but let's risk it. We got the sharpened resolve if we should need it, but now I'm just going to take hard Art Braum. Then we still have the sharpened resolve for next turn. Like, I'm not super upset about Fiora like killing 1 Poro, but we need to be like little careful here at least. We should probably be spending these spells onto her. How have we only played 2 factions? Oh, we haven't played our Shurima Poro. Why is our Buster Shot still just a 2 mana? But I guess that makes sense. So what's this, a back-to-back? Why would you ever attack with the Blade Keeper? I'll take the bait. Yeah, I don't see how this would ever be a good attack. Interesting. Riposte doesn't take down Braum. Okay. I'm interested in what you have here, my dude. If it's just like a flash freeze, I feel like this was a pretty good turn. Our Braum is going to flip and he's still not dealing enough damage. Perfect. Could have the likes of a single combat kind of card, which would do enough damage, but I don't feel like this was maximally thought out in terms of coming after Braum. Perfect. All right, cool. So let's make him start spending cards onto Fiora. Oh, just doesn't have it. It's pretty good to me. Now we get to amp up all of our board, bank up this mana for the Fury of the North or the Feel the Rush, whatever. We'll have to kind of keep this in mind. We have this board completely full with Feel the Rush in our hand, but we have some time to make that not a problem. Pack Mentality is good here, even if it's not a game ender. Getting a bunch of these smaller trades onto his units is pretty good. We should still end our opponent's board. Cool. See what you got, my dude. Here comes the Buster Shot. Just out here spending some mana, right? We aren't realistically going to add any units to the board this turn, and so I want to spend some mana. Okay. Only losing out on 3 is not a huge thing to worry about. Now we have the Pack Mentality with Fury of the North backup. If this just doesn't warrant a concession, then at least the other big thing here, we can just bank 3 mana and play Feel the Rush next turn. Yeah, figured it would just get a concession. Cool. Rolling right through, doing that Poro thing. Now we eat. So who we got here? Braum with the Heart of Left. I think that's where we're going to have to go. Again, like, the thing that can happen with these decks that have Feel the Rush is, say we draw Darius, right? Just play the game, we draw Darius, and then we want to play Feel the Rush later, then we're only going to hit Braum, right? We would have to play Darius, right? Say we've drawn him and playing him. There we go. Now we only have Braums in our deck. We Feel the Rush, we only get 1 champion, which is kind of a bummer. But if you add in that second champion, so say we drew our Darius and played him, then we could still search out Braum and Ashe, since we have 2 differently named champions in our deck. And so it is kind of nice to add that 3rd champion in here, but I don't want to be adding in Ashe. I'm not a huge fan of our Feel the Rush champions not having Overwhelm or Elusive, and so you typically want things like Sejuani or Tryndamere when that was a thing, Darius, Scion, Zoe is always a great choice, but not really excited about adding in an Ashe. And so I'm just going to go with the other Braum here. The Heart of Left, not super amped about, but hopefully we can just trade it away at some point. We're just trade picks from this point forward, so maybe it'll get to go. All right. Round 4 begin. I think we're in a pretty good space here. Got some trades we'd like to make, but we got all the core stuff one would need to punch on through to the 7. Okay. Action Kindred, interesting. Let's see what we can do. We got one of these big early game starts here. Nothing to 3 and then start snacking up. Curious if we should actually play any of these on 2. If he sends it back to us, it's not that big of a deal, but yeah, we're not interacting with action. Also curious if he just opens here. That could be kind of nice for us. But all right, here comes the Lonely. You know what? Gonna play another one. You know what? I'm going to play another one. Now, we do need to like double Poros snack this turn if we want to combat well with the dudes that he has on board, or we can just play Braum. And I'm just leaning towards adding Braum here. It doesn't seem like it's going to feel that good to just like slam a Poro into a 3-3 and make it be like forced to trade. I think we can get a little bit better than that. So let's see. This is actually kind of scary if he has a shaped stone or sharpened resolve, whatever that thing's called. I don't want Kindred taking down our Braum, so we'll just block the 3-3 or hook in the 3-3 here, and then move on. We should be getting pretty lined up to have a good combat though. We can double Poro snack this turn, or if we want, we can Poro snack and Fury of the North. And then Kindred's usually kind of a sad panda against these style of decks as we're out here throwing our lonely Poros down. He would much rather hit even 6 drops, but we tend to always have a board full of 1/1s. Well, 1-cost units, I should say. They're about to turn to 3-3s real fast. All right, so I think I'm okay with this. If he wants to quick attack challenge our 1 Poro with a Kindred, I think that's fine. We can try and take it down with a Fury of the North as well. So this all looks pretty reasonable. We'll have to just make the decision if we want to double snack or if we want to snack and Fury of the North. He's just giving us options. Okay. You can have 1 win. He clearly has a card here, right? But I really don't care if he's going to try and Kindred down Braum at this point, right? Our dudes are just so good otherwise. Yeah, perfect. Rip Braum, you got Kindreded. But he's not what matters now. The Poros are what matters now. Get that predict draw, sure. Slightly awkward. If we want to get additional Poros with the Herder and do the Fabled thing, it's going to take us an additional turn. And we also can't Fury of the North if we play the Fabled. And so let's just take it a little slow. As I was assuming we would just be drawing a 1-drop Poro, but I have to remember that that's not always the case here. And then we can pick up Lightning Rush, I think. So whenever Kindred tries to flip, we have a Lightning Rush for it, or we can send back the Poro Herder or something. All sounds good to me. We pick up +1/+1. Okay. Darius ready to come out here with the pack mentality on board. Okay. So is that who we actually want to drop? Do we drop the Darius here and then try and pack mentality next turn? Interesting. Like, how bad is it if he pops Darius with a Vengeance? That doesn't seem like ideal. Here's what I'm thinking. Let's add the Poro Sled. Next turn, we'll overwrite one of these smaller dudes with the Fabled Poro, and then try and get in with a pack mentality. I think that seems reasonable. Now, I guess the new question is, do we want to actually Lightning Rush away the Poro Sled, or do we want to Lightning Rush away whatever gets the mark. The mark goes on to Conchologist. We can, I guess we have two options. We can just ignore it, let the Kindred flip, or how much mana do we need next turn? We need 11. So we need a full bank if we want to do all of this stuff. Okay. I think it's fine. I don't know. This might be a little greedy, but it seems like it should be okay. It's just the downside to this is Kindred is going to be a 6 health, and our Poros don't battle with her well. Oh, she only has 5. Okay, that's much better. And the Heart of Love tier 2. Here for just the ultimate high rolls, if that's the way we need to go about it. Not a good set of abilities we hit. We hit Fearsome twice. I guess we hit one Overwhelm, but we're just gonna pack Mentality through the Overwhelm. I give that a sad noise. How much stats are we gonna have though? Assuming they just play, I don't know, Scuttlegeist. You know, we'll just play big dude here. We're gonna have 10 with the pack Mentality, 19, 21, 27. I don't think it's gonna quite be a lethal. Okay, this one was weird. This one got away from us. We could have definitely played that one differently, but huh. Okay. I don't like how we did that one. With this one, this is interesting. We have the 3 Poros snacks, I guess. So let's get rid of the Shield Breaker. He's not very good, and pick up the Lonely. Cool. Right, on to the next one. Yeah, that was weird. I guess we should have given that Kindred a little bit more respect. I thought we were just going to be able to plow through that board with stats. And it didn't play out exactly how I expected it to. So we probably should have just like taken a turn to do the to do the Fury of the North plus the Poros snacks. I think the turn we played the 2 Poros snacks is where that game kind of fell apart. I think maybe we should have tried to take Kindred down with the Fury of the North, ignored the action, and then just let those other combats happen. And then it would have been very tough for them to combat trick through a Fury of the North. I think we might have been okay from there. So I think we probably took a bad strategy there. But it's okay. We're not going to let the Tilt Dragon get us. We're going to recover, smash on through. And so yeah, this is one of these setups where I do like to add the Mighty Poro. Then, you know, if our opponent wants to get into combat with the 3/3 of their own, we have the Poro snack backup. And then if they don't want to do that, then we can just kind of continue forth and not really represent that we have these the snacks, and then we can also perhaps just use a Fury of the North later. But let's make it obvious, you know. let's just put it out there that we're ready to snack up and take this dum-dum off the board. It's not exactly like getting 2 for 1, right? Because we do get to boost the remainder of our Poros for the rest of the game, and so he got a card out of it and stuff, and we got the stats, and I think that's fairly okay. But now let's pick up some of these small ones before trying to drop the Fabled. All right, well, the Poro herders are ready for battle. You bring your 2/2s, I'll bring my 2/3s. Pretty good looking Poro sled here as well. Get to generate the 2/2 Poro. What? Bring it on the donger, sure.
You don't understand.
Seems pretty positive. He's going to get to untap with the Heimerdinger, which kind of sucks, but we're pretty far ahead on board here. This Heimer is going to have to do a lot, so he's going to have to hit some Flash of Brilliances or something to let him get a fairly full board. Otherwise, we'll just take over from this point forward. Not, not sure how I feel about this. It seems a little suspect, but I think we'll be okay. Let's see if he's gonna like Tattered Banner into Redemption or something.
My shield is yours.
Just don't care about any of these cards. Like I think that's a pretty good place to be in, right? They're just doing a bunch of stuff we don't care about. At the end of the day, is he gonna come in and hook a Poro herder? Sure. I'm A-okay with all of that. Static Shock, sure. I was thinking of, do we want to perhaps open with the Fabled Poro to give the Poro sled some protection? It doesn't seem that necessary. I think this does leave us in a spot where we probably just have to open attack, though. We'll have the full board because the Poro sled's got to put some additional stats down. Oh, good timing. Thinks he's going to win some combats, which is not the case. Oh man, this is so choice. It's so choice. Counterspell the Mystic Shot, have the Poro sled survive, have our lonely Poro survive, kill a bunch of his stuff. That feels pretty good. Drop him to 4. Okay. I think we just want to bank here. Like, we are getting kind of built up to where if the thing with the Poros fails, then we could just feel the rush, or next turn we can drop a 3 attack They Who Endure if we should so choose. Oh, buddy, we can drop 2 of them? Exactly what I'm talking about in terms of They Who Endure. Just so easy to run into these spaces to where you just can't play it. I think we should be pretty well set here. I mean, he's got all his mana and stuff, but... Ooh, bringing out the big boy, huh? Can we still just punch through here? I mean, he's likely gonna have some more units to add to the board, right? He did just get some cheap spells, Production Surge. Okay. Man, he certainly picked up a lot of width here. We only have the 1 impact now, so we probably can't lethal with it, but I think we're still in this space where we just want to slam a bunch of units in. We can easily refill this board. Probably just refill it with Feel the Rush. So hitting in for 3 damage, take him to 1. Okay. All right, get ready to do your KDA dances. We should be fine. Like, the only thing that would worry me in a situation like this is if he starts to drop a bunch of elusives, and we should be able to Icefell Archer any of the elusives as they come down. So I think this should be fine. Feel the Rush. It's, it'd be much nicer if we were just attacking with these 10-10s now, but have fun combating this Darius. How big did these get? The Who Endures now have the +7 attached to them as well. All right. Make a sad noise to that. Okay, I think we're still fine though. Like if he opens, he's gonna hit us for like 7 if we just block the big ones. We did lose our overwhelm though, so it's gonna take like another 100 turns to actually punch through all this stuff. Okay. Assume there's going to be like some kind of shenanigans coming into our Braum, but not anything we can really do about it. He's going to take an 8 hit. He was just going to die regardless of where he blocked, but we do at least still get a we get a Poro out of it, which is pretty important. Finally get this dumbass Heimerdinger out of here. You got the Challenger if we need to, but I think we're looking to just play They Who Endure this turn, They Who Endure next turn, and hopefully that's finally enough to punch through all this stuff. We could, like, open, but these decks tend to have a lot of detains, and so I don't want to just, like, have to deal with this again, and so I think we should go for playing the second They Who Endure. Heart of Fluff, that's another way to try and go about it. They Who Endure is a little bit safer, though. Yeah, Adam. I knew we could do it. Okay, so what are we looking at here? I think we want to get rid of the pack mentality. It's a card. It's very good, but I really only want one copy of it. The Fury of the North isn't a great addition though, but I think it'll be fine. Feels better than picking up an Affectionate Poro. I don't think we ever really want to make this trade. The Brutal Hunter is a little off theme, and so let's pick up the Fury of the North. Just a little bit cheaper, you know? All right, the next battle. Ooh, that was, I don't know, close. Feels like some of these games are getting kind of close. I feel like we ought to just be smashing. But all right, I'm ready. Not a bad little hand. I don't know. It's like I've always been pretty happy with just like the wait until 3 to play the Poros next. I guess we can like run our cheaper units out and just like start smashing, but it's been kind of nice to not have to worry about them dying or anything. Like getting your 1/1 Poros hit with Vile Feasts and stuff. Not a huge fan of that happening. So we'll take it slow until he gives us a reason not to. Like if he plays a Rock Hopper here, how do we feel about it? This is okay. Just smashed another Lonely. Works for me. Don't have to attack this turn, but we certainly want to go wide with a hand like this with the 2 snacks in it and the Fabled Poro in it. I'm not going to be attacking this turn. We'll just drop the Plucky Poro and then pass. Coming around to our next turn, though, we can look to like do the Poro snacks and the Fabled if we want. Seems like opponents trying to be up to shenanigans here. It's like they have something to do, but they don't want to do it on our bad units. So let's just go ahead and pass. I'm fine with this. Okay, so do we want to go ahead and drop the Fabled? What's opponent gonna do here? I don't think it'll be anything too impressive. Let's make our units good. Is that elusive? And I think he's gonna try and drop like an unspeakable horror. That's what this kind of feels like when he's dropping the catalog of regrets here. Okay, so we're gonna have to like open into this stuff. Sure. These have tough. Let's just take this last point of damage down here. Then we open for about 1 million. Seems better than trying to, like, risking him playing a 5/5 or something here. So let's just snack it up and boom while we can. And then we should be in line to just win with an open on our next turn. Okay.
Anything can be scattered with elements. Even us.
Wish we had a better way to deal with this dum-dum. I don't so much care about the darkness coming down, but we need to be able to attack through this. So how do we feel here? We have the second Poro snacks, which we can use to boost our fabled Poro, or we could just add the Alpha Wild Claw, which he's probably not going to attack into. Let's just add the Wild Claw, and then plan to open next turn with the second Poro snack, or I guess it would be the third Poro snack. It's only got 1 mana. He's not going to do anything.
We grow.
What? What? No, this is a horrible attack. Okay. All right, let's see how this goes.
Steady as life and death.
It says neg 6. Don't even need to play any cards, right? It says neg 3. Don't even need to play any cards, right? Neg 2. Can we even beat like a vengeance here?
What are you made of?
I feel like if he's just pushing around his units, we're probably okay. But
What are you made of?
all right, move him around. Push it forward and backwards, upwards and downwards. I don't think it's going to matter here.
Steady as life and death.
he's trying his hardest to figure it out, though. Neg 2. All right. Okay, so what are we doing with these? Now we have to make the decision, do we want to get rid of our single pack mentality? I don't think we do. Again, I'd love to pick up Battle Fury, but it's so nice just having this 1 mana combat trick and Brutal Steel. Ancient Yeti's not super strong, though. I love Battle Fury for the memes, but I don't think it's one that we like seriously need here. All right, we'll pick up the Ancient. All right. Pre-final battle is upon us. I don't know about you, but I'm fucking stoked. let's get to it. Drop these Poros. No Iceborne Legacies. This is sad. You know, I was really hoping that with the bitch fest of the previous weeks on Reddit of the Iceborne daring Poros rolling through everyone's fun times, that we'd get to assemble that here, but I feel like we got a pretty fun one anyways. Man, somebody playing multiple copies of Aurelian Soul. That's a bold move. I usually don't have the heart to play the 2 copies of Aurelian Soul, but maybe we'll learn a thing or two here. So, all right, we're going to hang on to the Poros snacks, mulligan everything else away. I could definitely see an argument for getting rid of the snacks, but it's just like such an important card in what our deck is trying to do. I feel like we'll be kind of like okay if we just hit like a lonely Poro snacks and two expensive cards. But we did hit the Mighty here, which is pretty good. And I mean, we have this Feel the Rush against the Aurelian Soul deck, and so we can most certainly come up to turn 9 and drop Feel the Rush, and hopefully get a win before our opponent's able to drop the big dragon on board. And so one can dream, one can hope. What is this? He's out here dropping all these aggro units on us. It says LOL JK, not doing Aurelian Soul things. So let's see, I'll more than happily take 2. I'm curious if he plays like a 3-2 here where we just take 5. That's kinda suspect. He seems like he might have like a small unit to play in the background if he's not that he's kind of worried about. But okay, perfect. This is fine. Let's bank into the next turn. We'll get our Mighty going. See what we can work with. I think we would like for them to play a 3-3. I mean, it's a little scary that they could drop a combat trick, but I think that would be the most ideal thing. We just attack our Mighty into a 3-3, play the snacks, get the kill. Feeling pretty good about life. Sump Dredger. Well, that's kind of against the whole idea here. He's not supposed to play a 4 attack unit. He's only supposed to play play a 3-3. But I think we'll still be okay here. I think. It's interesting. Should we go ahead and drop the stack? I mean, it just gets a point of damage in. I think we probably should. Not that like the point of damage is so important, but I feel like we're gonna roll into next turn and just have to play like weird Poro snacks, and so like there is an argument with having Conchologist in hand that we shouldn't do this, but every point of damage could come down to matter. This is over here. I'm eyeballing the mana thing, seeing how long it's going to take us to get this Field of Rush on the board. All right. We're going to go for the point of damage. If this just ends up being a Conchologist into a 2-bank, it's not that bad. And we did get the critical point of damage in via the Poro snack. Serpent. Okay. So we have a naked Fabled Poro, if you will. It's not the best thing in the world, but I would like to come out to spend all of our mana.
What can I say? I'm an adaptable guy.
See, like a Lonely Poro makes this kind of meh, but it's kind of this odd space. If we do draw a Lonely Poro, then we wouldn't be able to play the Fabled, or if we draw, say, like a Poro Herder, we wouldn't be able to play it. And so I think it's fine to just go ahead and drop, even though we aren't boosting our squad of 5 units. Dang, kind of sucks. This is definitely not how we want our deck functioning against an Aurelian Soul deck. We should most certainly have a fully wide board here. Be taking advantage of that. We just got a weird ass draw. Assembly line. This doesn't belong in Expedition. What are you doing? Where are you getting those things from? What do we do here? Do we actually want Blood for Blood? I think it's okay. I mean, it's not like a very exciting Fabled Poro, but it might be worth putting a copy of in our hand. It's going to probably, I feel like it'll do a little bit more than a Pokestick would do. So, I mean, ideally now we can, we have like tons of dudes we can get on the board. We just needed that one draw. I think he's going to open on us. I would see this as being something like he hooks the Fabled Poro with the 1/1, attacks with everything. We're looking to have to take like 8 if we throw the Conchologist in front of the Urchin. Like, I can't imagine this guy getting a better attack than this. Okay. But at least this way, we do get to now drop double Poros, right? We can Lonely Poro, Blood for Blood, the Fabled, drop the Fabled, and then open next turn with Poro Snack mana. If we want, we could also play Alpha Wildclaw. Just the only awkward thing with this hand now is we don't really want to be dropping Darius, right? We would prefer, I think, to Feel the Rush Darius. If it feels like, I don't know, it may not hold true, right? Depends on what opponent's board looks like on their next turn, to where we could potentially play Darius on their turn and then just open and get him to flip mid-attack. We'll have to see how that shakes out, but some potentials there. What you doing, my dude? The Moon Dreamer. All right, it's a fairly meaty fella. And our daring Poro, though, that's all we need, right? What everybody complains about in Constructed, that should be all we need here. Always something to complain about. Always something. And you say, hey, Riot, this format's too good. How about you make it a little shittier? Could you make this format a little worse for us? It's too good. I gotta have something to complain about. All right, what do we got on these now? We picked up Faded on the original one, Fearsome, Impact, and Tough. Okay, so I think we probably just want to open now. He's going to get one good block onto the Jubilant, but the rest of his blocks aren't very good, and then we could potentially just follow up with a Buster Shot after we Poro Snack. The big thing is across this turn and next turn, we need to find somewhere to bank 3 mana, right? On turn 9, I most certainly want to be playing Feel the Rush. So whether or not it's, this turn we bank and then next turn look to just play like Alpha Wildclaw or however we do it, whatever. Need to get that 3 bank. Wouldn't it be sweet if we got the kill by Buster shotting our Faded unit? Can you do that? Deal 3 to a unit. We could potentially get it this way. There's some cards where you want to make these sweet plays targeting your own units, and most of the time with damage it says enemy unit, but it does appear that we could Buster shot our own Fabled Poro to get that extra point of damage in. No, see, this is the places to where, say, like, Darius does actually have a lot of potential, right? Assuming we didn't have Feel the Rush in our hand, right? We could still play Darius on our opponent's turn, and then open, hit for 4 with the Daring, and then flip him up into big boy range. I don't think we're going to need to do that, but I think the way this is going to shake out, we're just going to play Alpha Wildclaw next turn, and then when the game swings back to us, we'll Feel the Rush and hopefully get the game. He hasn't played his Invoke. I mean, I don't think that there's too much reason to really read into that, but we do have to worry about things like what's it called, the big Obliterate, the 6 mana Obliterate thing. Oh, bringing that hot fire, huh? Curious if he's going to have a. Okay, he's not. I was worried about the dragon thing that gives all your dragons +1/+1. I know he's already discarded 1, but it doesn't look like that's going to be a problem here. I'm happy enough to just make this trade, right? Our Alpha Wild Claw, if we say we could put like a couple points of damage on this, but he's just going to be blocking with that Dum Dum next turn. Okay, so we'll add the Lonely and stop. We need to have 2 spaces on our bench to get our Fielder Rush on board. KDA Dance. Be ready for it. Wiki scratch. Do the dance. The sweet RE beats. Here they come. Okay, and so yeah, like this is what I was kind of saying about the previous turn, as to where, if something goes wrong with the block on his 5/6, then he at least still takes a bunch of damage. But this way, I'm sorry, his 5/6, if he has a Targon shield or something and leaves it with 0 health, then kind of whatever. But this way, we can now hook his big unit way to the right, and when it comes to blocking Darius, he can only throw a small unit in front of it now. And so this doesn't look like it's going to be lethal, but it's still pretty powerful. A little bit short, unfortunately, but yeah, we wanted to take away his big blockers if we could. Okay, this is dumb. There's no. I guess he could be doing it for information before he blocks with his Gift Giver, but he has to block with the Gift Giver or he dies. It's just there's no burst or fast cards coming off of a Invoke. Darius, unfortunately, doesn't gain +4 attack. On his flip, it sets his attack to 10 health. And so... we're not going to get a lethal here off of Darius.
Open your eyes.
That's you got to switch that around. That booms you. Oh, he does go up to 14 attack. Oh, cool. You learn something new every day. I was just out here lying to y'all. It was weird. The last time we played him, he was already flipped. He was a 10 attack when we dropped him. This is different in the sense that he flipped this time. I got it. I see what happened there. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Planned it that way. Meant it to happen like that all along. All right. So what do we got out of these? This is interesting. I think we just want to get rid of They Who Endure. Not a very strong card again. 4 Poros snacks is a lot, but I want that They Who Endure out of here. Now, I think I'm okay to trade the Ancient Yeti for a Troll Chant. We are like a little heavy on spells, though. So maybe we let that one go. I think I'm just going to skip over all of these. Let's hang on to the Conchologist as well. Here, Buster Shot for Poro Herder's fine. I like this one a little more. The Sharpened Resolve for a Fabled. The Resolve, we already have decent enough combat tricks, and it's a little expensive. Darius for Sejuani. It is an upgrade from the Sejuani. I think this is where we would like to go. Right, we want to keep our one-pack mentality. Wrathful Rider is not a great addition, but the Sejuani, she at least adds some interactivity to the board as opposed to just raw stats. So happy enough with that. Don't want Ash. Could go for another Lonely Poro, though. We'll still have a Fury of the North. Still have 2 Fury of the North. Beautiful. And Battle Fury. Give us another chance, Battle Fury. Nope. All right, but we'll take the Poro Herder then. All righty. Ready for the final battle. Okay, so yeah, it's always interesting with those final trade picks in this Fluffed and Tough deck. I find that like a lot of times it's tough to get the deck together, right? You have to have like the right mix of things show up. You have to have your Lonelies and your Mighties and your Poro Herders and your Snacks, and sometimes like certain pieces of that just don't show up, and it is what it is. But it always seems like if you make yourself to these like final battle trades, the everything just like magically appears. It's so fucking wild. especially in terms of it. I don't know. As far as I know, there's no like difference in the algorithm along the way, but it's just one of those odd things I've kind of noticed. So with these hands are odd. Like I'm not really amped about running into elites with all these just small 1/1s, but I feel like we have to like keep something. It's tempting to just like hard mulligan for Poro snacks here, but that's probably a little aggressive. Yeah, it feels a little bit better with these Poro herders, to where at least if we don't have the snacks, we can still drop units on the board. Don't want to add the 1/1. Just Fiora fodder at this point.
I've been sent by the king himself. They will sing of our deeds.
Okay. Take a trick if you have it. If he has a Radiant Strike or whatever, then by all means. Okay, but things do get a little different now that we've picked up the Fabled. I feel like we're in a much better space to just try and slam a bunch of stuff on the board. And with this, I'm just going to pass. If he's going to make like a Fiora play on us, then it makes sense. But if he's trying to be clever, then I would prefer for this just to go a little bit slower. Our deck is nowhere near powered up. I forgot this guy still has tough. What did they do to this thing? They take his elite status away? I forget. Let's see. Yeah, this board's like not that exciting. If we like top deck a Poro snack, this will be huge. But just being stuck with all these little dum-dums isn't that strong. We could technically go for a pack mentality, but I'm not excited about that. I think I just want to add the Fabled
I can barely keep up.
and see where it gets us. We could try and pack mentality 2 turns from now.
Strength and grace.
And look at this guy dropping the going big with the elusives out here. Okay. He said you remember Demacia elusives? It's apparently a thing. There we go. So the new question is, are we willing to say drop a Fabled Poro here? See, what stats we pick up, and then if we hit a spell shield, go for the Heart of Fluff, because it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, be 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, 16 stats. Otherwise, we're just adding Sejuani, which it's not that bad. We'd rather just add Sejuani next turn. Let's do this. Let's add the Fabled. We didn't hit any of the really good ones. Some augments. Augment is actually not horrible here, right? We create cards with the Lonely Poro. But I haven't seen that card. Man, I haven't seen this guy in years. Unyielding Spirit, he used to come out and throw this on your Fioras and stuff. Oh, it used to burst. Once they took burst off of it, I think it kind of fell off. But okay. Let's blast in. It's gonna need some like single combat style cards to really get ahead here.
Trust me, they add up.
So we should be punching in for 16. And then ideally next turn we'll just be like we can Sejuani the Silverwing Diver. And then try and just be wider than them. It should be pretty tough for him to actually get a win here. Or we could do the classic, just let some stuff die and then feel the rush. I'm not opposed to that. Like, what's he going to do? He's going to get 2 good hooks with the Silverwing Vanguards? Or I guess what if we... well, adding Heart of Fluff feels kind of scary. Alright, let's just go big. I think we lose 2 units here, like, all the time. And then we should be good to feel the rush next turn. Or, I mean, do we even need to go for that? Like, we can let him get the 2 hooks here, take 4, and then just be wider than him next turn by 4 units. I mean, it doesn't have as many style points to it, but it's probably actually the way to go. God. We're supposed to go for style points. I kind of hate myself for what we're doing here. Got him. Okay, nice little trial with the Poros here. So we'll get this pulled up. We'll recap them again real quick. The old LOR Guardian up and at it, and so yeah, we kind of hit on the big ones. There's what I still think there's just 3 Poros archetypes. You can include Iceborne guys in here if you want, but like the Iceborne Legacy, it would be okay in our deck state here, but we'd just be targeting like Lonely Poros with it, right? We have 6 Lonely Poros. The big value with Iceborne Legacy and Constructed comes from you're playing the Daring Poro, you're playing Poro Cannon, you're playing Iterative Improvement, and then the only Poro in your deck is the Daring, and so you can use the Poro Herder to just come out and draw Daring Poros. Like, it's just like ridiculous to try and assemble that into Expedition. You can start with Braum and then land in P and Z, but if you're going to do that, if you really want to pull off the Daring Poros in Expedition, you need to be in like Scrap Heap Jinx or one of the archetypes that physically has Poro Cannon in it. I don't believe Poro Cannon lives in Fluffed and Tuft. It may. I mean, it's tough for me to really keep track of what is legitimate and what's not anymore. I don't think my spreadsheet stuff has tracked them, but it is really tough for my spreadsheet thing to hit archetypes like Fluffed and Tuft and be paired into P and Z and have everything turn up. And so it may still be in there, but I don't think it is. The last time I dabbled, I don't remember seeing any Poro Cannons. And so, I think that there's usually just 3 decks here. We drafted around Poro Snacks. This was what I think is the typical premier Poro style deck. You're kind of this mid-rangey deck. You could see the game flow that we did almost every single game, to where ideally we're just playing a Mighty Poro on turn 3 with a snack, and then on turn 4 we can spew off like 4 Poros or 2 Poros and a Poro Herder. I think that sequencing is what typically gives us the most value, and so you don't want to think of yourselves as being an aggro deck just because you're so loaded up on 1-drops. You're definitely a more mid-rangey engine style deck, and you really need to get the Poro snacks going for your deck to operate at all, really. And so this is the one I prefer. Again, we mentioned the Heart of Fluffed version. I don't like the Heart of Fluffed unless you're paired into Targon. So your Targon Poro has Spell Shield, so he gets rolled into Spell Shield. That is, a high rolly deck, but it can be fun to do. And then there is we thankfully traded away all of our They Who Endures, right? We did get that one game where we had like an 11-11 and a 12-12, and I was very glad that we got to pull that off, but there are also quite a few games to where this was literally turn 7 of the game and a 7 mana 2/2. Right, and so you can chase after this if things go wrong in terms of finding like Poro Snacks and Aurora Borealis and the unit boosting cards. Then by all means, They Who Endure may give you a way to pull off a few games, but as a strategy to pursue, I do not like it. And so, all in all, I thought this was pretty good. This is may have been my first time pairing in Bandle City with these. I thought the Bandle City worked out nicely. And we were able to get the what do you call the Poro generator, the Poro sled, and the Impact Poro, in addition to all of our Lonelies. It was a nice little trial here. I enjoyed this one thoroughly. So let's jump out to the front. Don't think we have any rewards. We do not. And so that is going to do it for us today. So I hope everyone enjoyed the trial. You learned how to snack them instead of doing the legacy. Yeah, learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.